Hey guys, Quiv the Lazy Geek here, and today we have a new telescope, the Sharpstar 61EDPH 2, which is an APO triplet telescope that is f5.5 natively. It has 61mm aperture. It is cute. Oh my word, how cute it is. This is the cutest telescope ever. Yeah, it is. That's why I bought it, just because it's cute. No, so I bought it because it comes with a reducer that's, pretty big compared to the scope. That will make it f4.5, which is really fast. And I'm hoping to get like really sharp images, really sharp stars. And probably sharper than my Canon lenses, while I stay in a very small package. And I want to make sure that I can fully automate this setup, so I also bought an additional ZWO EF, which I have preliminarily tested, not on the focuser but on its own, and I've determined it has almost no backlash, which is great. My main imaging setup, the backlash is around, the native backlash of the focuser is around 80 steps, plus I have like 10-20 steps of backlash on the focuser itself. Now this one should have much less backlash as far as I can tell, which is great. And the Sharpstar telescope has very good reviews. The dovetail at the bottom is tiny, so it might be difficult to balance, but we'll see how it goes. And I'll see how I'll be attaching a finder to this as well, a guider actually, whether it's going to be at the top here, or they actually are finder holes here on the side, so I could be using that as well. If I use a very light finder, it shouldn't matter too much. It's a bit on the side like that. Yeah, so this looks really promising, and so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to fit the ZWO EF to make it completely automated, and once we're done, we'll attach the ASI533 with the right amount of back focus, hopefully, and we'll test it out for a night, right? So let's get started. First thing, I will remove the eyepiece adapter, which is really high quality, by the way, and instead I will put the reducer to f4.5. And I love, can you see how curved that lens is? That's like really curvy, and I think it has to do with that fast focal ratio. And I just slide it in, screw it in, and here we are. We have the reducer on. So that's a good first step. And the next step that I'll do is I'll actually add the focuser here. So to add the focuser, I will need to actually remove that focus knob here. So I will use a little, I think it's 2mm screwdriver to loosen a grub screw in there to remove that. And then we're going to find the right size adapter for it. So we have the EF. The EF comes with tons of fun stuff. Screws, wrenches, more screws, and a holder. The someone taught me the name, I forgot, like the coupler, I think is the name. And we have actually 3 different couplers with different diameters, and the beautiful tiny cute EAF itself. And let's have a look at how we connect that. So what I've noticed is that in the Sharpstar here we have 3 holes, 1, 2, 3 here, that all have threads, and while they already have screws in the bottom, I think that we can just use the top of the threads without even unscrewing or doing anything with anything. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna find the right coupler size, and I believe I have determined it's basically this size, and yes, it does get in. So I'll be loosening the grub screws of the coupler. I want to make sure that one of the grub screws is, there's always a flat part, and it is here for me. So I want to make sure that one of those grub screws is at the flat part. Okay, I'm gonna make sure that I don't rub, I don't push it in all the way so that it rubs against the focuser holder itself. We're just going to have 1mm or so of clearance between the coupler and the telescope itself. And then we can just tighten those grub screws. Okay, and the next step, and we are indeed fine, right? Yep, looks good. Then attach the focuser body of the flexible coupler and tighten the lock screw using the supplied lock wrench. Okay, and we'll want to adapt it so that the two screw holes here at the top of the EEF are actually lined up a bit like this, so they can actually accept the adapter plate. So for this, again, I'll want to make sure that the flat part of the focuser is in the right direction. So I'll be tuning, like turning a bit, that little focuser thingy, so that I can have the flat part exactly over one of the grub screws while I have the right angle for the EF. And it looks like this is it. So we're gonna tighten that up. And we have a second screw to tie up. And here we are. So we have attached the EAF. It is not secured yet. Right now, if I were to use the EAF, it would just turn, and the EF itself would turn around, not the focuser shaft. So now we can actually attach the mounting plate. So secure the EAF body to the bracket and the bracket to the matching mounting hole. So, okay, and I'm intentionally keeping the screws slightly loose so I can actually, fit the bracket to the focuser. Now let's see, will we have some screws that actually work for this in the package? Let's have a look. So there are tons of different types of screws, and hopefully one of them will fit. Yes, it does. It does. This is great. So we have two more screws that fit directly the focuser. I'm just going to get two washers while I'm at it. And we can make sure that we have exactly the right coupling. And we can turn them in, tighten them. Well, that was much easier than I expected, actually. Wow, this is really cool. No screw to unscrew on the Sharpstar focuser. It just fits right in. This is great. Here we are. So we've installed the EF. The color of the EF actually is great to go with the Sharpstar. So now what we have to do is we have to find a way to get a proper 55 millimeter distance between the flange of that focuser, of that reducer here, and the camera itself. So we know that the camera is 7.5 millimeters or 17.5 millimeters with the adapter. So 17.5 or 6.5. I have a filter drawer that's 15 millimeters where I can put a 2-inch filter. So I think I'll put a filter drawer. So 15 millimeters plus 17.5, so we should be at 32.5 millimeters. And I need to get, 0.5 will be fine, we're going to ignore that. So let's say we are at 32 millimeters and we want to get, 23 more millimeters of back focus. And for that, I'm going to use some adapters. Okay, and I think I've found my perfect solution. So I use the 21 millimeter adapter from the ZWO camera. On top of that, I have this little M42 ring that's roughly 1.5 millimeters thick, if I remember correctly. 1.4 millimeters thick. And on top of that, I will use a 0.8 millimeters spacer ring. Yeah, it's a bit of an improvisation system. It also makes the threads here very, very short, which means that when I screw them into the filter wheel, I get secure connection, but I can actually slide the filter drawer out and back in, which is a big advantage. I think this is a really old filter drawer from Telescope Service, and yeah, I might have had problems with it. So now we can just well, double check the distance from the camera to the end of the threads is 49.5. Then we add 6.5, so we are at 56, which is exactly what I wanted, because I want to have a bit more spacing due to the filter. Also, I've noticed that a lot of those 55 millimeters back focus distance, they actually require a bit more. So we'll see if that works. If it doesn't work, I can just adjust the rings that I put in between the 21 millimeter adapter and the filter drawer. And with this, what do we have? I'm thinking, I was going to say something very important. Yes, we have 56 millimeters of back focus distance, which is fine because I want to put a filter in the middle, and it's very easy with that filter drawer to just... So this is a CLS CCD filter for now, but I can change it to whatever I want. And here we are. We have our completed setup. So this is fully automated because we now have the ZWO EF that is connected to the focuser shaft of the telescope. We have the telescope proper. We have the focal reducer. We have the proper spacing, hopefully, we'll be double checking at night. And we have the cooled camera. And on top of that, I'll just need to mount a little guide scope on top. Okay, and here is our little finder scope, which looks like an intruder on this otherwise very red scope. But I have the choice between putting it in a finder shoe like this, that would be on the side of the scope, towards the focuser. We're gonna go for the finder shoe approach for now. I hope the screws are the right size. Yes, they are. I can slide my guide scope in. And so here is our end result. So it's a bit bulkier than it was at the start. This is the longest length that we have. But with that, it is fully automated. We have the auto guider, we have the electronic focuser, we have the cooled camera, we have a filter that can change. It's not a filter wheel, but that's because it's a color camera. If I ever go back to like this would be a great match for a 183mm or 183MC with very small pixels, so that you have a decent resolution, even with such a small telescope. But for now, a filter drawer will do. And you know, this is going to work great, I can tell. So now we want to check one last thing, it's the balance. So can I actually achieve balance with this telescope using the little dovetail here? And it seems not. Yeah, so the point of best balance is roughly here at the very end of that dovetail, so that's not gonna work. And I don't think we can make it any better because the I need like a small counterweight at the front, or maybe basically what I need to do is make have a way that I can attach my guide scope here to the front, so we have more mass hanging down from the front. But you know, small, you know, problems in deck, I think are going to be fine. And with that, I think we are ready for our first imaging night. I don't know when that's going to be. I think tonight is supposed to be cloudy, but I'm looking forward to it, and I hope you do as well. So this was a video about the initial setup of this Sharpstar 61EDPH, which looks like a very sexy telescope. I cannot wait to see what the optics are like. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So if you're new to this channel, if you're not subscribed yet, welcome to the channel. If you like this kind of tutorial or, you know, investigation into like creating a new setup scope, a new imaging scope, trying it out, or technical stuff about camera sensors, or tips and tricks about astrophotography in general, you're at the the right place, and I think you should go down, click on that subscribe button and the little notification bell icon while you're at it. And otherwise, if you like this video, please go down below, click on the like button, and leave a comment about any suggestions you may have. Maybe I'm overlooking some very basic stuff that I should not be overlooking. So please, please, please let me know if that's the case. But otherwise, if you have any video ideas, any suggestions, all that kind of stuff, just go down in the comments, let me know. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Whenever you can, don't forget to look up at the stars, and I'll see you next time.